that 45-day challenge and let me know how you do. LeafyWell.com. Hey, good folks, the Mixter here. Now, you've heard me sing the praises of RP Summit for, well, the better part of a year. Let me tell you something about RP Summit. In business, everybody's fishing from the same ocean. Well, RP Summit gives you a better type of bait, and he puts more lines in the water. He's been in business for about 15 years, and let me tell you this. Automotive, medical, business to business, they all swear by the good work of RP Summit, rpsummit.com. They'll generate traffic. They'll generate leads. They'll convert to dollars. What good is having 100 people come to your website if nobody spends 5 cents? Well, they recognize that. And they bring you the talent, and they bring you the people and the affordability that you're looking for to build your business. rpsummit.com. Log on today. Tell them the Mixter sent you. Back on the show, 312 here on a fantastic Friday, and I'd like to welcome Cleartronic, their president and CEO. Been with them since the beginning. Larry Reed, welcome, Larry. I'm glad to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me again, Mick.
Pleasure
to be here.
Yeah, right? You know, we were on last week, and we had a bit of a glitch here and there, and I don't know if everybody kind of heard just what's going on with Cleartronic, with, your filing the dividend which you're offering existing shareholders in Cleartronic. They'll get there's a formula you came out with where if you own, let's say, 100,000 shares of Cleartronic, which is now a bargain, you would get about 75,000 in the new company.
7,500.
7,500 shares.
Right.
Okay, and that new company is only registering around 50 million shares.
We're only registering the shares that are going to be issued to the Cleartronic shareholders.
So there's the benefit right there. If you own Cleartronic, by a certain date, you hold it electronically. Those shares will be deposited right into your account where your stock is.
That's correct.
Now, you've gone ahead and you've really gone after this. I know you've been working on this for a better part of a year, and you wanted to get in at the, I guess you could say, the beginning of the process with the cannabinoid products, the oils. And that's what you tend to put yourself in. The growing, as you said earlier, was kind of risky. But you want to be able to process the oils, and you've come up with a great plan. Well, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we do have a good plan, Mick. I mean, I'm in partnership with the Bioprocessing Corp over in Tampa, and we are going to be processing biomass, raw hemp, into oil and converting that into isolate, and we're going to be marketing that to other companies that make products, that make CBD products.
Right.
And we're pretty excited about it. We've got an alliance with a number of growers in California, in Kentucky, in Colorado, and a couple of other states.
Right.
And we've also building a footprint right now in the country of Colombia. We're very excited about that, but that's in the future a little bit. But in the meantime, we're going to be processing as early as next month. We're going to be processing product, and we're going to be wholesaling it in the market, and we're looking at a very bright future, we think.
Yeah, you're going to brand your own product, which will be under your label.
Eventually, we'll have our own products that we'll be manufacturing, actually locally here in Broward County. We've got an FDA-approved lab that's cooperating with us that we've got an agreement with, and we're excited about that. And the most important thing is we're going to be producing CBD products that are absolutely 0.000% THC. There's absolutely not going to be any THC in our products.
Right. It's legal in all 50 states and
Correct.
Canada. And you'll also be able to private label for other companies that are coming out that want this product.
Well, our partner in the business will be private labeling. We'll be private labeling our products for our customers, which are mostly doctors, chiropractors, pain clinics. We are going to be extremely focused on dosage to make sure the right dose is being given to the patient and that they get the most beneficial effect from the product that they can get. I've had some
back problems,
and most of it happens in the mornings, and I've been using some CBD creams, and I'm I'm amazed by the relief that I get from just these creams. You know, you rub them on your knee and on your hip, and it's just amazing what they do. So it's all organic. It's all part of your natural body system. You've got a cannabinoid system in your body. It was there from birth, and we've got the right products, we think, to help people.
You know, and today with all the negativity on the opioid situation, as I said, you go to a hospital with a broken arm, and 2 weeks later, you're addicted to oxycodone or any of these other things out there, which only disguise the pain. There's something about this because the VA hospitals now are offering cannabinoid products to people with PSTD. It seems to relax them. It seems to help them in so many other ways that where an opioid only, like I said, disguises it. This here seems to have a better effect. It's non-addictive, and the THC is what makes you wacky. It's what's in marijuana. Totally different plant. The hemp plant and the marijuana plant are the same family, but totally different. Am I right in that assumption?
That's correct. That is correct.
It doesn't have it. You know, it's not like you're taking a marijuana plant and removing the THC. It just doesn't have it from birth. The plant is basically virgin of any THC. It has a trace, and through your process, whatever trace is there, you remove it.
Yeah, through our partners, Bioprocessing Corp. I mean, through them, we build extraction machines that remove the oil from the plant.
Mm-hmm. And patented machines. They've patented their own system.
And our partnership with them is very tight, and really that's where we're able to get our products from, is from the growers that are using the Bioprocessing Corp extraction machines. So we're very, very excited about the future of the spin-off, so to speak.
Right. And they take that oil and they take it to another factory or a plant, which goes ahead and puts it in pill form or candy form. You got lozenges today, you got lollipops, you got honey sticks, you got what is it, gummy bears? It seems every company I know has gummy bears. And the advantage that you would have is probably because you can control the dosage.
Well, we can actually recommend the dosage, and we can let the patient or the customer know what they should be taking, and we can create the right pill, gummy, whatever, with the proper dosage. So one of the problems today is that while the CBD market is very strong and growing, you know, you need to be careful, because I've heard stories where a nurse in Houston, Texas, went in to get a massage, and the masseuse used a CBD cream, not knowing that it had THC in it.
My God.
And the nurse had to undergo a blood test at work, and she lost her job.
Yeah, well, it sucked it right in.
Yeah,
you know, THC is what they look for in these tests.
Right.
And even the smallest amount will show up. There's no disguising it.
And it doesn't go away very rapidly either. I mean,
it takes about 3 or 4 days to get out of your system.
Exactly. It's not like alcohol, I mean, where you can get rid of it in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. You know, some of the people in this town, if you did a blood test on them 2 weeks later, they'd still be a .10.
Right.
You know, Fort Lauderdale, Miami is. Right. It's a party town. But, you know, this whole industry is basically in its infancy. I mean, companies are coming out there. They're basically learning on-job training. I mean, I've seen so many. You've seen me. I've had Pot Network on from the beginning. They went from $500,000 to $4 million a month in sales in less than a year. You've seen Leafy Well. You've seen so many of these others. But none of these companies are into the oil. They don't manufacture their own product. They depend on outsourcing.
Correct.
And basically they market their product. Every one of them, you know, has been successful in a lot of ways, but they don't control it from the birth of the product itself, from the grow to taking it to actually a plant and having the oils made. Because it's the oils inevitably that goes into the candy products and the chewables and things like that. You took a different approach on this, as well as your marketing. You're not marketing to the general public. You're going to start out through the medical division itself.
Medical community, yes. Mm-hmm. That's the people we're going to be marketing to.
Which is the chiropractors and such.
Yeah, we've got a client list of over 1,000 people. that are interested in our products, and that and we'll private label for these physicians. I mean, if they want their own label on the product, we'll be happy to put the label on it for them.
Dr. Jellyfingers.
Doctor, whatever his name is.
You know, it's a different marketing strategy you have, and it's. I guess it would be beneficial. You have a tight float, so as far as an investment, as me, let's say I was an investor and I bought shares, I would get shares in the new company,
correct,
and it would trade under its own symbol,
correct,
QSIP number. So, have you thought of a symbol? Usually,
not yet. We haven't. That's all. That's up to FINRA. They'll let you know what symbol that they're going to give you. That's nothing that you can really. You can make a couple of suggestions, but they're going to decide what the symbol is.
Right. And going back to Cleartronic, you had a secondary company which is called ReadyOp.
Right.
Now, ReadyOp is the company which will be spun off in a.
No, ReadyOp will stay with Cleartronic.
Right.
ReadyOp is the major operating subsidiary of Cleartronic. The spin-out that we're doing is Voice Interop. Which is a small division that has been not really growing that much, and so as a result, we wanted to spin it out and give it an opportunity to get into another business or to do other things, whereas they wouldn't be constrained by the capital structure of Cleartronic. But ReadyOp is an amazing software solution for emergency situations, just like
the one we just had.
Just like Hurricane Michael in the Panhandle.
You just got a text from Mark.
I just got a text this morning. I'll read it to you really quickly because I think it's really interesting. A new use of ReadyOp. The Florida DOH, Department of Health, created a missing persons form in ReadyOp. They sent the link to the Florida National Guard, who posted it on their Twitter account last night. So far, over 1,800 people have used the link to register missing persons. I mean, it's an amazing piece of software that is incredibly valuable to first responders, to all kinds of public and private entities that need to have an accurate way to communicate with the people they need to communicate with.
Especially here in Florida, I know how active you are during when the hurricane came through the Keys, and again in Houston, you were basically your systems were put to the test.
Yeah,
and
they
came
really
through.
were, and they came through flying colors.
Right, and City of Houston has been a subscriber of Cleartronic now for quite some time.
ReadyOp for a number of
ReadyOp,
years.
yeah,
right.
Yeah, and then, it works out well. So the benefit that we come down to is basically that if you come in and you buy Cleartronic stock,
correct,
you will receive automatically, without any further money or anything else, it will be credited to your account upon FINRA approval, right? Which will be now you're audited, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
fully audited.
Fully audited,
that's all done. All your paperwork basically is
complete.
ready to go.
Right. We're just waiting on final approval.
What do you think? What do you think the outcome will be? How long do you? But I know we're coming up to the holiday season. Do you think you'll get it in this year?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, but there's no.
No,
you don't have anything.
You're dealing with FINRA.
You can't. Well, not the SEC and and FINRA. So, it's they're great organizations, and they're there to protect the public, and so that's why we're going through this process. We want to be sure that we're very transparent in everything that we do, and I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it.
So Mark will stay on with Cleartronic?
Mark will he is the CEO of ReadyOp.
ReadyOp.
He will be the CEO of Cleartronic. I will stay on for probably the next 90 days to transition them through their filing of the 10K that's going to be due. Our fiscal year ended on September 30th. But I'm working with my partners at Bioprocessing to transact the new business, and it's going to work out just fine. I'm a hard worker anyway.
I know you are. You've been there 19 years.
Yeah.
You don't have any toxic debt at all in either company.
No, there's no debt at all.
So it's debt-free.
All equity.
I know a lot of these companies at the beginning, they go on and they take on this money from a third party or from an investor, and it basically turns into a toxic debt, and I've seen it. I've seen it knock the hell out of stock prices. So basically your shareholders are pretty secure. There's no gollywoggles out there.
The interesting thing about the spinoff is that there's not going to be any debt at all. I mean, basically the owners, until we do an acquisition, the owners of the spinoff will be the owners. There's no debt until we.
And the owners will be the shareholders,
and they're the only registered shareholders
of Cleartronic
of the spinoff.
Of the spinoff. Okay,
Correct.
so there's nobody in between.
No.
So that's pretty. You're going to register, I guess, about 50 million shares.
Well, we're only going to register the
about 27
about
million.
20 million
20
to start.
million.
And that's basically all going to Cleartronic shareholders.
So if
we do an acquisition, which we're going to do, or we're contemplating doing, we will probably be issuing more shares, but those shares are not going to be.
They don't hit the market.
They're not
going
to be registered.
They're investment shares, so if restricted from trading.
Right.
So you're not going to see any dilution out of them.
You're not going to see any shares hit the market.
Nothing's going to hit the market to hurt the stock price.
Right.
And we're looking at hopefully get this thing done before the first of the year.
Correct.
Which will be an advantage to a lot of people looking to get out of other stock and maybe get into Cleartronic. Right now, it's a terrific bargain. You're at a low, and I guess everybody else is with the carnage that happened the last couple of days, the correction that's taken place. I guess it's rebounding today somewhat, and it looks like all systems go. With Cleartronic. I mean, you seem to. I know you put a lot of time in this. You've been at this for over a year.
And I think we've got it under control right now.
Other
Mick.
deals that you looked at, you said just enough for you. They were either too rich for your blood or they're too risky, and you've pushed on. You've gone in a different direction.
Right. We've done our due diligence here, and we.
I know you've been getting frequent flyer miles going to Kentucky and to Columbia and traveling the world looking for the best scenario for the company, shareholders, and for yourself too, which is important. But you will keep us informed of
I sure will,
what you do.
And appreciate you having me today. It was really.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm grateful.
Okay, and it's CLRI is the symbol. CLRI, that's Cleartronic. Mr. Larry Reed, I thank you again, Larry, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you. My regards to Mark, and we'll be following you in this venture.
Okay,
thank you. We're going to break. We'll come back. We got John Legato coming on from Philadelphia's own. And we're going to be talking about the book that he wrote, JohnCanley.com, about Gunnery Sergeant John Canley, who will receive his Medal of Honor on the 17th from the President of the United States in a ceremony, which will be covered live on Fox. I'm sure you'd like to see it. I'm the Mixer. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Don't go away. Hey, good folks, the Mixer here. Now, you've heard me sing the praises of RP Summit for, the better part of a year. Let me tell you something about RP Summit. In business, everybody's fishing from the same ocean. Well, RP Summit gives you a better type of bait, and he puts more lines in the water. He's been in business for about 15 years, and let me tell you this. Automotive, medical, business to business, they all swear by the good work of RP Summit, rpsummit.com. They'll generate traffic. They'll generate leads. They'll convert to dollars. What good is having 100 people come to your website if nobody spends 5 cents? Well, they recognize that. And they bring you the talent, and they bring you the people and the affordability that you're looking for to build your business. rpsummit.com. Log on today. Tell them the Mixter sent you. Hey, good folks, the Mixter here. Nature has a remedy, and it's called LeafyWell.com. Now, we've all heard about CBD and CBG, which is brand new. Skin creams, balms, rejuvenate the skin. Now, we're all getting older, the baby boomers especially. I don't care if you were an old rock and roller of the 60s, a disco queen of the 70s, or maybe one of those yuppies of the 80s. Let's face it, that was a long time ago. And everybody's fighting time. And the best way to do it is with products from LeafyWell.com. That's right. LeafyWell.com has an assortment of products. I happen to like their honey sticks. I drop a couple in my coffee in the morning, and I'm good for the day. Also, watermelon flavor. Now, gummy bears come in all assorted flavors, from cherry to wild cherry to blueberry, which is brand new, and mine, of course, is watermelon. So if you're feeling down on yourself and you're not looking good, try this. Take the 45-day challenge from LeafyWell.com. That 45-day challenge will get you feeling very good. And let me tell you something. The whole object is to stay vertical, stay healthy, and stay in the game. And with Leafy Well products at LeafyWell.com, they'll give you exactly what you need to keep going and to keep going strong. Skin creams and balms. You can't go wrong, ladies. It gets your skin tighter, and it gets into there and makes you look younger. You get your glow back, especially you disco queens from back when. So LeafyWell.com. Take it from the mixer. Take that 45-day challenge, and let me know how you do. LeafyWell.com. .331, back on the show here on Super 740. You can pick us up on 96.9 and 103.9 here in South Florida, around the world, amp2.tv. You know, so much has been said about the Tet Offensive as of late. We've watched the President of the United States award several medals of honor in the last couple of months to well-deserving soldiers that fought so hard in different campaigns. Well, we have another one who on the 17th will be receiving his award, the Congressional Medal of Honor, John Canley. And right now we're going to have an author of the book who is writing the book with John Canley about the Tet Offensive and just about that one, I guess, portion of the war which was fought in Vietnam in 1968, a 50-year anniversary of the Tet Offensive. Tet Offensive, an accomplished author in his own right, and a hero of that campaign, fought side by side with John Canley, Mr. John Legato. John, how are you, sir?
How you doing, Mick?
Very good. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've been talking, of course, to Tommy Kay and Tommy Kozlowski from RP Summit about this book, which comes out in July, and you've already been taking orders on the book. And how hard is it to write a book going back in your own experience, because you also were in that battle, which was probably the bloodiest battle of the war. It was the equivalent of, I guess, being attacked on New Year's Eve during the Tet Offensive. We were caught off guard, and then you guys basically turned the table on everybody. What is it like to go back for yourself, first of all?
You know, that's a great question, and I had to go back. I write books, but this is the first nonfiction book,
right,
which requires a lot more work. So in going back and researching, subject matter experts and articles, and then interviewing the guys that still are alive, it was amazing how much I found out about, the men of Alpha Company. And the book's coming out next month. It's not July.
Okay.
It's coming out, yeah. But what happened is, let me just give a little backstory.
Please do.
On 31 January of '68, we were called into, we had no idea where we were going, but what it was the Tet Offensive, and of course we didn't know it at the time. And there was only 140 Marines. Normally a full company's at 320 approximately. And we went into Way City, and awaiting us were 10,000 NBA regulars. I'm glad I didn't know the numbers back then, but that's an amazing, difference in troops, 140-something and 10,000. They completely controlled the city, and this was their effort to end the Vietnam War, the Tet Offensive.
I read a lot about the Tet Offensive, that they basically, Khe Sanh was going on, and Westmoreland, he was sidetracked. Everything was revolving around Khe Sanh, and they basically infiltrated all the way up until Saigon. They brought in tens of thousands of troops, unbeknownst to us at the time, and caught us completely off guard. But it was the quality of the fights, the individual firefights, that turned the tables and was able to go ahead and save, basically, the city and push them out. And that was the last battle, I guess, the Viet Cong as a unit ever fought. I think they were completely wiped out.
Yeah, they held no territory. That was not officially the end of the war, but that was the emotional end of the war when the American public said enough. But you're right about Westmoreland. It's one of the greatest intelligence failures in U.S. history, where they threw him a head fake up at Khe Sanh,
Right.
while the NVA moved 80,000 troops into South Vietnam. So he entirely blew it. I have I have a lot of problems with Westmoreland, from exaggerating the body counts to being faked out by an NVA general knew.
Yeah. You also had a problem that this whole war was micromanaged by President Johnson. Okay, right from the White House. He basically was fighting the war, picking and selecting targets. He took everything out of the guys in the field. He basically wanted to micromanage it, I guess not to tick off the Chinese, who were already wholeheartedly into the war, and you know that. You were there.
Yeah, Johnson, wanted to manage the war. He was actually picking targets. And unfortunately, that had consequences that have names. I have a friend named John Clark, who was a pilot, and he was a POW for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And on the day he got shot down, he had his briefing, and it was the same target and the same route the planes were going to take. And he questioned it. He said, "Hey, they're going to be looking for us."
Right.
And his commanding officer said, "John," he said, "these orders are coming from Washington." And that day, Clark got shot down and spent almost 6 years in a POW camp. So decisions from Washington had consequences, and John Clark is a name that
he paid the price.
Yeah, he paid the price, Mickster.
Along with everybody else. Your career, when you got out of the Marine Corps, you spent, to get back into your credentials as far as even writing this book. You've written many other books. I've seen them on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and see some candid interviews with John Legato and some of the books that he has written, over the years. And then you went into law enforcement with the FBI for many years, sometimes under deep cover. So you're no novice. You know what you're talking about, and having served in the battle, again, the credibility of what you write, and like you said, this is your first novel that is basically, it doesn't get any realer than this. As far as I'm concerned, it must have been something for you to sit down and actually rehash all these things that happened, refresh your memory, things you forget. He was in the battle with you, so it must have been. It was a bloody battle.
It was. We had, out of the 140 that entered way that first day, only 7 came out unbloodied. Mm-hmm. We had tremendous casualties. We also had, in the first 3 days of the battle, 2 Medal of Honor recipients in 3 days, which is, an amazing statistic for Vietnam to have 2 Medal of Honor winners out of 140 Marines in a 3-day time period. But then again, we were facing 10,000 troops. And normally the Americans had air superiority and weapon superiority. But for about 8 days, we had none of that. We were fighting a superior enemy in terms of numbers, just mano a mano,
Right. There were no lines. They were right inside your lines because they popped out of tunnels all over the place.
Well, actually, we fought house to house, room to room. We were actually involved in firefights. Like, there was a big battle on the 4th of February at the St. Joan of Arc school complex. And we went into that building and actually were clearing rooms where we went into the rooms and there were NVA in the room. And, if you could imagine a classroom, we're firing M16s at that distance, maybe a 20 by 20 foot room. Mm-hmm. And that was not the exception, because just going into Way, the Way was a French city.
Right.
It looked a lot like New Orleans. So we had been used to the jungle and the rice paddies. We had no training in urban warfare. And just going in, we went through a suburbs with a highway, Highway 1, and on each side of the highway were homes, like you'd see, on any suburbs. And just to get into the city, the NBA were in them homes, and not all of them popping up and shooting at a distance of about 40 yards from us. So just to get in the city, we had to go in these houses and clear the houses out, which, again, there was some even hand-to-hand combat on that the first few days away.
That was basically a sacred city, too, which, again, added to being caught off guard. It was respected by both the South and the North Vietnamese. It was some sort of a sacred city, an open city of sorts. And then for them to pop up unexpectedly like that, it must have really been something for you right off a cold pail of water in your face on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I left that morning. They told us we'd be back by noon, and most of us never did get back to Fubai.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cultural city, and it was, they didn't like the people, a lot of them were French, Vietnamese, and they didn't like the North or the South.
Mm-hmm.
But the city was unlike anything that I'd seen outside of Europe. It had cathedrals, beautiful cathedrals, soccer stadiums, and it had always been spared in the Vietnam War. It was never hit before. But the NVA knew that on 31 January, it was the Vietnamese New Year's, that the ARVNs, which controlled, was the military force in Hue, would be home on leave, just like American Marines. And so they knew that the city was basically, not defended.
Right.
And that's when they timed it. And the weird thing is they had always called a truce on Tet. And they just assumed there'd be a truce, but yet, this NVA general said this would be the perfect time to hit. And,
he attacked on New Year's Eve, let's face it, in a city where nobody thought they would attack. You look at the planning that went into that from their standpoint. I mean, it took a special quality people to turn it. You had the odds against you. They had surprise, basically caught our brass off guard. It had to be the grit of the Marines and the other services that were on the ground to really save the day.
Yeah, the Marines, there was a compound called MACV, which is a Military Assistance Command Vietnam. Mm-hmm. They had 240, they weren't combat people, they were advisors.
Right.
And they were the only military force, American military force, other than, the ARVNs into Citadel. So in other words, basically, there was only two pockets in that city, one on the south side of the MACV and one on the north side, the Citadel, that had maybe total 400 military people. Mm-hmm. And the MACV compound was overrun. They stopped 3 breaches of their walls, and they were amazing. And we were sent to relieve them. And again, we had no idea of the numbers. I keep saying.
You didn't know what you were up against. You had first of all, the attack wasn't even supposed to be there, and now they're going to tell you what you're up against. Who could trust those figures?
Well, for a week, the American Marines, it's called Task Force X-Ray, the bosses running the battle at Hue, kept to this narrative that there was only 2 undersized NVA companies that we were up against. Mm-hmm. And basically it was a division. It was 10,000. So they insisted, and they were giving orders from Fubai, which was about 10 miles away, based on their false intel, that there were only maybe 500 NVA. And they disregarded eyewitness. I'll give you an example. The first day we reached the river, Perfume River separates the north and south of Hue. Across the river, I could see thousands of NVA troops.
Oh, jeez.
Thousands. And which was weird because you never saw, in Vietnam, you never saw your enemy up close and personal.
Right.
And we were relaying that information back to Fubai, saying, no, there's more than a few hundred, there's thousands. And they kept saying, you're wrong, your intel is wrong. And so we're eyewitness, we're giving you real-time intelligence, and they wouldn't believe it for a week. and what happened was they sent like 3 or 4 guys up after about 7 days, and we took them out, and it took us 1 day to go about 100 yards, and then that's when they understood that there were more than, a couple hundred NVA.
A lot of good they were in that battle, that's for sure. It's if anything that could go wrong does go wrong. They just don't accept what's going on in the field because they're not there to see it. I mean, here you are, a witness to what's happening, an eyewitness real time, and they still don't believe you. It's enough to frustrate the hell out of anybody, I guess. It's just that's the way the military works in some cases. Let's talk about the book now. Now, this book will be available now. It's a month. I had heard earlier July. what month is it? It's October.
Yeah,
So
it's
we're looking
actually-
at a book coming out. It's you could view the book to our audience. Go to johncanley.com. That's CANLEY, johncanley.com. You can order the book in advance, okay, which will be sent to you promptly as soon as it comes off the press, okay, to make sure there is availability. And it also has a terrific video on there. I viewed the video yesterday. It's really sensational the way that this man operates. He's not a man. He's a man of few words, and he's 80 years old. He's still running calisthenics with the younger Marines at Camp Lejeune. He's in great shape, and he was fearless.
He's fearless, and that's the word. I mean, he does have the normal fight or flight instinct. I mean, I've seen him charge machine guns, NBA machine guns, to the point getting close enough to throw hand grenades. He pulls out wounded. I mean, he never ran, he never ducked, he never, is an amazing guy. And the book goes into this, and it's not just one eyewitness. You will read maybe 30 eyewitness accounts of 30 different events. So it's not 30 guys seeing the same thing. It's 30 people seeing him charging machine guns and pulling out people. He's just and the guy that was next to him, a Sergeant Gonzalez, also won the Medal of Honor. So you had these two Medal of Honor winners out of 140 Marines that which you just don't get two Medal of Honor winners in a 3-day period.
Considering he's the 300th Marine ever to receive the medal, that goes back to the Civil War. There's only been some 3,600 of this medal awarded to anyone, and more than half, were awarded during the Civil War. That shows you the rarity of this. It's the highest award, of course, that our country can give anyone. The names that have gotten it in the past, from Jimmy Doolittle and his Doolittle raid, to Audie Murphy, to Sergeant York, to Joe Force in Guadalcanal, John Basilone, another great Marine at Guadalcanal. I mean, it's exceptional. It's uncommon valor. Let's face it.
Yeah, there's only 70 still alive Medal of Honor winners that are alive. So it is an amazing fraternity. It took me 13 years to get him the Medal of Honor. In other words, I started this over 13 years ago by taking affidavits, and once it was rejected 10 times, but never on the merits, never on what he did. It was always you're missing a comma, you're missing once it got up to Marine Corps Awards and Decoration, it sailed through. There was never a question that they said he's one of the more deserved Medal of Honor recipients in the history of the United States.
Right. You're going to be doing book tours. You're going to be busy for the next year or so. You're going to be on Fox. I'm sure they'll have you on the Kirby couch in the morning, speaking engagements. You'll be available for those. People can go ahead and they can contact you through the website, johncanley.com. Different corporate functions. I know there's a lot of people who would be interested in hearing the story. Again, you're going to be quite busy with John, and he's a man of few words. He really doesn't showcase himself. He don't like the hero status. He's just basically a Marine.
Yeah, he is. And really, if your listeners, anybody, any corporate events, his story is one of inspiration. So it doesn't just apply to the military. It could be whatever, a corporate, a human resource, whatever.
Right.
A law enforcement entity. And it's a wonderful story, but if you want to book him to speak at your event, you go to johncanley.com, and you can meet Gunny Canley up close and personal.
Yeah, and you produced the video. Let's face it, you were in the battle too. You put together a pretty good show. I saw the videos on some of the charitable work you did with the military organizations, with RP Summit and Tom Kozlowski, our good friend. It's like you said, it is inspirational, and now's the time to book him, because I'd like to see him come to Florida for sure. I can think of 5 or 6 places right now that would love to have him. And if you're interested and you want to get in line first, now's the time to log on to johncanley.com, order the book. I'm sure there'll be book signings down here, places like that, and you'll be doing the circuit as far as, the television circuit. I'm sure Fox News will have them on, and you, okay, probably within the next week or so, you'll be traveling to New York.
They do that right after they told us to stand by for, they have them on the late shows and national shows. So it'll be interesting because he hasn't said a word. There have been maybe 20 books, documentaries, and shows on the Tet Offensive, and everyone wanted to interview Gunny Canley. Mm-hmm. He never gave one interview in 51 years. So this is the first time that he's ever speaking out about what he did. And all the books and documentaries, it's always other people's account of what he did.
Truly amazing. He's an amazing man. You know what got me in the video when people say they've never even seen him crawl. He stood upright no matter the shelling, no matter bullets whizzing by. And he had an attitude that if he survived the first 30 seconds of a firefight, he actually believed that they couldn't kill him. He was fearless, completely fearless in everything he did. And that is done over and over. You'll hear it in the video. They don't believe he had a scintilla of fear in him. And you couldn't operate like that if you did have any fear. He was without regard, with reckless abandon for his own safety while trying to save his Marines and get the mission done and stop the enemy. He made them stop. Let's face it, that's what he did.
He was amazing. A very quick story. At Compiègne in '67, we were hit with a battalion NVA, and one of the Marines got shot, fell down. We're calling corpsman up. The corpsman comes up, he gets shot and goes down, and a third Marine comes up, he gets shot and goes down. And we're no more than 20 yards from the three Marines, or the two Marines and one corpsman that are, help. Every time we tried to get up, the bullets, thousands of NVA rounds, we turn around, and calmly walking down a tank rut is the gunny. He's walking. And he stops at us. He said, "Keep your heads down. There's a lot of incoming." He walks and picks up the first one as the corpsman in his arms like a baby. He cradles him and walks back to the rear, hands him off, and then repeats his trip 2 additional times to get the other Marines. And about 10 people saw this. So, we didn't all hallucinate it. And it's amazing. He's a fatalist.
Just a sensational human being, a great Marine, a great patriot as you are. Thank you for your service. You've been through a lot. You've done a lot. Between the military, the Marine Corps, and the FBI, and you're still out there pitching. And I got to say, johncanley.com. I want you to go ahead and log on, reserve yourself a book. This, by the way, will be this show will be available in its entirety on Facebook, on YouTube later in the day, and you'll be able to do it. Join in and wish everybody well. I wish you the best, of course, John, with your book. I'm sure it'll be a sensational bestseller. RP Summit, of course, Tom Kozlowski is a terrific publicist. He'll help you in every way, I'm sure, because he believes in it. And we'll come back when the book is written. Hopefully, if you're down here in Florida, you can join me in studio. We'll do an hour together, and we'll go from there, okay? And, nothing but the best to you and Gunnery Sergeant John Canley. I wish him well, and I thank him for his service to a well-deserved medal, long overdue.
Hey, thanks, Mick. You were the best, I'll tell you. Thank you very much, and hope to meet you down in Florida.
Absolutely, sir. Okay, once again, that was John Legato, author of the book written by John Legato about John Canley, their exceptional service to our country as U.S. Marines in probably the bloodiest battle since probably Bastogne in World War II, which was the Battle of Way City during the Tet Offensive of 1968. Canley will receive his Medal of Honor at the White House on the 17th from the President, and we're looking forward to him. Log on to johncanley.com, pick up a copy of the book, and keep advised if you want them, for some of your parties. We're going to go to a quick break. I'll come back and wrap it up. I'm the Mixter here on 740. Hey, good folks, the Mixter here. Now, you've heard me sing the praises of RP Summit for, well, the better part of a year. Let me tell you something about RP Summit. In business, everybody's fishing from the same ocean. Well, RP Summit gives you a better type of bait, and he puts more lines in the water. He's been in business for about 15 years, and let me tell you this. Automotive, medical, business to business, they all swear by the good work of RP Summit, rpsummit.com. They'll generate traffic. They'll generate leads. They'll convert to dollars. What good is having 100 people come to your website if nobody spends 5 cents? Well, they recognize that. And they bring you the talent, and they bring you the people and the affordability that you're looking for to build your business. rpsummit.com. Log on today. Tell them the Mixter sent you. Wrapping it up here, 3:57 on your time. I'm the Mixter, Mick Bazzuly. And you can log on to mickbazzuly.com if you have an interesting product or something you want to bring on the show. If you have a company, perhaps, or you invented something that might do somebody some good, which I doubt. But if you do want to come on, log on to mickbazzuly.com, fill out that little gumizigam at the bottom, and I'll bring you on the show if I can get you through the production staff. Big weekend on here, on hand here in Fort Lauderdale. Every day's a big weekend here in Fort Lauderdale, right? But I'll be out and about, probably go visit some of the places, the local haunts of mine. I haven't been out in a while, but I'll drop in to let everybody know I'm still alive. And it'll be we hope we'll have some good weather here this weekend. I mean, with that rain and the storm going through and everybody punchy, wondering if it's going to make a right turn and level us. Well, none of that happened, but unfortunately it did hit the panhandle with force, and those people up there right now are suffering, not only without any power, but without any homes. I mean, if you look at it on the news, it reminds me of Andrew. I mean, just flattened everything. It's just, we're not geared for that 150, 160 mile an hour window. I don't think anybody is. But anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. I want to thank Jody Mybaum, Joe behind the glass, Freddie Santori at AMP2 TV, our great engineer, Duff Lindsay, who helps me out immensely, goes unsung over here. Freddie's wearing a beautiful fedora now. He looks good, covers his head, his bald head. In fact, I got to get one for myself, but my head's too big for a fedora. I need like a cowboy hat. Bob Moranci runs the show over here, and he's been with me, and I've been with him for 18 years now, having a good time here on Beasley Broadcasting. I want to invite you all to come and log on to johncanley.com once again. It's a hero. Oh, and did I mention John Canley happens to be an African-American? That's right, 300 Marines. That's how many you got it. He's the 300th. 74 alive. He will be the 74th. A total patriot from toe to the top of his beautiful head. God bless you all. I'll catch up with you next weekend. The Mixter signing off. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone.
Thanks for listening to the Mick Bazzuly Show, brought to you by RP Summit, putting money in businesses' pockets for 20 years. Visit rpsummit.com and tune in again next time for the Mick Bazzuly Show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not management or sponsors.